Hey y'all, welcome back to another Real Housewives of Atlanta review, season 16, episode 15. And honey, a time was had. Okay, let's get right into it, y'all. Yes, y'all. A time was had, honey. I really enjoyed, like, I had fun with them on this episode. Like, I feel like I was there this time. Like, I had fun with them. But child, let's get right into it. So they flash back to the night before, like I say, when the time was had, after Shamia, got, her emotions out regarding her baby, they all started drinking and doing the things that they do. And child, what we seen, honey, we seen a lot of twerking, grinding, feeling, bouncing, bumping. Like, the girls was on one, okay? Child, I even seen Phaedra on Cynthia lap, spread eagle, and feeling on herself. Like, I was like, what is happening? Like, they had a time, y'all, like I said. But, I was all here for it. They were finally at a place where they were enjoying themselves and getting along and forgetting all about their problems. Something they should have been doing from the very beginning of the trip, because as Kelly said, that was her purpose of the trip, right? So anyway, so we have Drew and Angela. They sitting down eating breakfast. And they talk about, what happened the night before with Britt, professing her love for Shamia. Y'all saw how Britt was hugging on Shamia. It wasn't nothing but the alcohol, child. But I ain't see Britt drinking in that last episode. At least they didn't show her drinking until at the end, when she decided to take shots to cheer Shamia up. But she obviously had something before that, child, because the way she was on her knees and the way and the things she was saying to Shamia, it was like, girl, what? Like, okay. And Drew was very confused along with the rest of us. So that's where Angela was like, girl, I was doing good until I looked over at your face. She was talking to Drew. She was like, I was doing so good until I looked over at your face, when Britt was professing her love to Shamia, in a friendly way. Well, a friendship love, I should say. And Angela was like, girl, I lost it once I saw you. And then they showed Drew's face, and Drew was confused. She was like, when Britt was down there on the floor, Drew was just like confused as hell, as the rest of us was, child, because I still don't know where and what. But like I said, we gonna blame it on the alcohol. But whatever, it kind of patch things up between Britt and Shamia in that moment or whatever. So her and Angela and Drew had got a key out of that, honey. So Drew was like, y'all thought I was the actress, child. After watching that performance, round of applause, honey. She said round of applause for Britt, because Britt did. She did definitely do the most, and it came out of nowhere. So then Britt was like, Angela brings up the fact that how she noticed that Britt and Kelly, they kind of weren't close anymore as per on the trip. They weren't as close anymore. They kind of wasn't speaking to each other like that anymore or whatever. Well, haven't been speaking much, on the trip or whatever. And we all saw the same thing. Kelly Kelly's a flipping ass. That's what she is, okay? Because we saw how she did Britt. And y'all know how I feel about Britt. I say it all the time, but right is right. Right is right. Right is right. Okay. And I can't believe for the past 2 episodes, at least, including this one, I have been in agreement with Britt. And I'm not really ashamed to say that, because that's just how I am. I don't, like I said before, I don't have to like your character or like your personality or whatever. But if somebody's doing some ill-ish to you, and, and I'm not feeling that either, I'm going to speak on it or whatever the case. Like, I don't like that ish that Kelly was pulling there. And you're supposed to be her friend. But anyway, Drew was like, look, child, I already got enough going on my own end, so I'm going to just keep my mouth closed and keep my eyes open, ears open, eyes open, something like that, Drew said. But she basically was saying, like, she ain't got nothing to say about it right now because she got her own ish going on. So then we see Shamia is on FaceTime with her mom, and, the kids are there. And Shamia basically wanted to know from her mother what all happened when it came to Shiloh, and the nurse not properly covering her up. So her mother was just telling her, like, yeah, when I came here and I was walking down the hall, I came here to get Shiloh. And she said, I was coming down the hall. She said the hallway was freezing. And then she said when she got to Shiloh was shivering. She was cold. She didn't have on any clothes like that. And the nurse was sitting around wrapped up in a heating blanket and a hat. You know, so it's just like, I'm confused as to what nurse, knowing, even if the baby didn't have any, you know, health conditions, what nurse would sit there and allow a child to just be literally freezing? Like, as an adult, if I'm cold, I know the baby's fucking cold. If I feel like I gotta put on a hat and a scarf or a heated blanket, I know the baby needs to be covered up. Like, I'm just confused as to what was going on in the nurse's head. Or like, why would she do that? Like, why would you do that? So Shamia's mother was like how she, you know, it took so long. It took about an hour for the baby's body to warm up again. Like, she had to hold her real close, you know, to warm the baby up again. And that just broke my heart, because one thing I don't play about is kids. Mine, yours, nobody's. I don't play about kids, period. I love kids down, even the hard-headed ones. I love kids down, okay? Babies, those are my babies. You know, that's just how I am. Surprisingly, I don't have more than one, but whatever. I'm just saying, I do absolutely love kids, and I hate hearing when kids are being mistreated or harmed in any kind of way. That just enrages me. And so to hear her mother, you know, saying that this nurse, you know, did that and like she was all wrapped up and stuff, it's just like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, what was her reason? Like, I need to know. I need Shamita to get in her ass, or if she got in her ass, I need to know what all happened when she got home. You know, I know they obviously let the nurse go because her husband did say that he was going to call an agency, you know, and ask for somebody else. But I still want to know, like, what did Shamia do about it? Like, or her husband, what did y'all do about it? Like, y'all just called the agency and told on her and that's it? Now, I'm not saying they supposed to have her hands and feet on you, but I mean, it kind of gave that. But at the end of the day, y'all know you can't just be walking around beating people up. But especially when you got shit to lose. So I get that part of it. But I just want to know, like, what was said. Like, did she get on the phone when she got home and lay the lady out, or, you know, lay the agency people out? Like, what happened after that? I just want to know what happened. So anyway, thankfully, the baby did not develop any more fevers, because remember the night before, her husband said that she did spike a fever and that they was going to take her to the doctor the next day if it didn't go down. But her mother told her, you know, that she didn't have a fever again. You know, she hasn't gotten another fever at that time or whatever. And then you see little Shia, you know, she's just waiting for her mother to notice her on the camera. And she finally says hi to Shia. Because when she first got on the FaceTime with her mom, Shia was in the camera too. But, you know, Shamia, I guess, you know, was more concerned naturally about what all happened the night before with the baby from her mother's, you know, point of it. And, you know, so she didn't really speak to Shia in that moment or whatever. But, you know, and Shia was just so happy to see her mommy and stuff. I feel bad for the little girl. I really, really do. It's very hard, you know, being a parent as it is. And then you have a sick child that you have to, you know, give the majority of your attention to. And then you have this other healthy child, you know, who's healthy and well. And she's able to do things with you. She's, you know, you're able to do things with her. And you kind of can't, or you kind of don't, because you kind of don't really have the time to do that. Like, it's just hard. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I just feel like, though, Shamia should, you know, put, and again, we don't know if she does or not. You know, I'm only going off of what I see on camera, and I know it's just a small amount of her life that we're seeing on camera, but it still gives me vibes that, like, Shamia really don't spend time with Shia like that. Like, that's just what I pick up from it or whatever. So then we have Cynthia, Portia, and Phaedra, child. With Cynthia and Portia in the room first, and they're acting a fool. And then Phaedra comes knocking on the door with her foolish ass self. And they're in there. Of course, Phaedra wants to get right to it, child. But not before she tell him she like going to sleep to crime shows. And I'm the same way. But the difference with me is, if that's only if I'm taking a nap, which I very rarely do. But if it's daytime, I have to turn on Dateline or some type of crime murder show like Dateline, 48 Hours Mystery, all that shit. That is what I need to put me to sleep. Okay, in the daytime. Like I said, and it's not even for a nap. Let's just, because there's a lot of times where I go to sleep at night and then I wake up in the middle of the night and then I can't get back to sleep. So in those cases like that, and it's like pre-dawn, I'll watch Dateline for sure, and it'll put me right back down like a fucking lullaby. I don't know what it is about crime shows that makes us sleepy. Does that make us psycho a little bit? Maybe. But Phaedra says she be waking up refreshed after she done went to sleep to her little crime show child. And she said she ain't worried about nobody coming to get her because she got her blicky and do. I know that's right, Phaedra. But anyway, Phaedra starts asking questions, y'all. She wants to know, what all was going on the night before with Britt and Kelly about the donation situation. Kelly and Shamia putting Britt on blast about the donation situation or whatever. Portia felt like, Britt just wouldn't let it go after a while. But no, y'all not going to sit here and call yourself calling me out and one of my supposedly best friends or close friends sitting over here double teaming me with the op. In that moment, Shamia was the op, okay, and you over here siding with her, jumping in on her side, and and bringing me down like, girl, no, we not finished, absolutely not. Shit, I gotta get shit off my chest now too. So again, I agree with Britt. She wasn't letting it go, or whatever the case may be. So when Portia was just like, she just kept going on and on and on about it. She wouldn't let it go. I just kept saying like, somebody shaded me, it's shady, but again, when the shoe is on the other foot, then people see, So, Phaedra also said, because every African in Atlanta drives a Rolls Royce, and I guess she was saying that to say, when Shamia brought up, oh, you can't be pulling up in Rolls Royces and Birkin bags and, I forget the other car she named. I guess Phaedra was trying to say like that didn't mean that she was talking directly to Britt, because there's tons of people, especially in Atlanta, African men who drives Rolls Royces and whatever. But she absolutely was talking about Britt. They both work, her and Kelly. So yeah. And then Portia had a nerve to say, which I thought was funny, calling Atlanta Scamlanta, and it's full of scam. What she said, Scamlanta is full of scamalinas. Yeah, baby, because you one of them. You and Simon, y'all both. He's a scammer, and you're Scamalina. Okay, so yeah, so she definitely knows that all too well. So then they talked about how Kelly and Britt, was pretty much quiet. How Kelly was quiet when Shamia was coming for Britt. And Kelly was. She was not being a friend in that moment to Britt at all. Like she was doing in the previous, episode. She was being Britt's mouthpiece, or she was speaking up when Britt spoke up. She was being more of a friend then. But it really obviously had something to do with the donate. Well, we found out later on that's not really what it was all about. But at the end of the day, Kelly's a flip-flopper. She's a flip-flopper. I guess she felt like she didn't want to be associated with Britt when it came to the donation situation anymore, because it looked bad, But at the end of the day, like I said, that's supposed to be your homegirl. That's supposed to be your close friend. Like, why would you try to play her in front of everybody like that? Like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Kelly is a flip-flopper, and I'm not feeling her. Like I said, in the beginning, Kelly was becoming one of my faves on the show, and I thought she was just cute, bubbly personality, great addition to the show. But now seeing who she really is as a friend, and again, y'all know I ain't here for Britt like that, but at the end of the day, Britt, I wish the Britt that we're getting now, I wish this is who she showed up as in the beginning of the show. Because I probably would. I like this version of Britt. I'm not even going to hold you, because I ain't nobody hater. But I like this version of Britt. I feel like if she would have led with this, she would have been cool with me. I would have been cool with her. She still would have been a liar, whatever the case may be. But I could have probably looked past that. Because, I feel like Britt actually did take this trip to kind of, fix herself up within the group, try to create bonds with the girls in the groups and do, just be a part of the friend group, and not cause any more drama and stuff like that. But she wound up having to defend herself several times on this trip. So, and she did that, but like I said, I kind of wish she showed up as this Britt in the beginning or whatever. But, because I think this side of her is cool. I think this version of her is cool. I do. So then Phaedra tells Cynthia and Portia that she got some tea, child. Britt had told her that Kelly snatched her glam team away from her. Because remember, when they was in Nashville and Britt was kind of going through what she was going through or whatever, Kelly let her borrow her glam squad, because she felt like it would help lift Brit's spirits, you know, and do something nice for her. So she did. She loaned her glam squad to her. I do not recall Kelly saying that, you know, she was sharing her glam squad with Brit. But ultimately, that seems what the way Brit took it. You know, I mean, she took it that way, you know. But at the end of the day, Kelly basically never told Brit that she can, you know, share the same squad with, I mean, share her glam squad or whatever. So Phaedra tell the girls that Brit told her that she took it away. She told her glam team that she only wants them to work with her and with her only. That's it. That's all. So Brit no longer had a glam squad of her own. Well, I guess she really never had the glam squad of her own because it was Kelly's glam squad, but you know what I mean. So basically now Kelly wants them to only work with her and for her and not with Brit. So that caused some kind of friction, and like I said, we later on find out that's in this episode we later on found out that that was really the meat and the potatoes of their beef between her and Brit. So then Phaedra goes on to bring up Brit's inverted nipple. Phaedra is a mess, child. She really, really is. And like I said before, she seems to be obsessed with somebody's nipples. But she was saying how, and they had me rolling in this scene. I ain't even gonna hold you. But she was saying how Brit, when they got back to their room the night before, Brit, you know, they got undressed or whatever. Well, Brit probably was already undressed, child, because y'all see her stripped down in the kitchen the night before. But she was just saying how Brit's nipple was inverted and that Brit squeezed her boob and it popped back out like a balloon. Phaedra is stupid. Do you hear me? See, she said the lady nipple popped back out like a balloon. And then here go Portia putting Cynthia's business on a total blast. She was like, oh, that's kind of like your clit. So Cynthia was mortified. Do you hear me? She was mortified. She was like, what? Then Phaedra was like, you got an inverted clit? Child. And Cynthia was like, no, I got a hooded child, and I still gotta Google what the hell that is. I need to know what that is. What is a hooded clit? I've never heard of such things. But anyway, Cynthia was like, how she got a hooded clit. And so then they start making fun of it. And Phaedra's like, you mean you got KKK down there? And Portia was like, no, she more got like a what she said, a racial, she get racially profiled. Yo, when I say they had me rolling, like I said, this was a fun episode for me too, child. But I said, Lord, now she put her business all out in these streets, child. So then we finally get to Brit and Kelly. Brit and Kelly have their, you know, meet up. Brit goes to Kelly's room or whatever. And, you know, Kelly tells Brit that she's been getting on the phone with her attorney, dealing with her divorce proceedings or whatever the case, and that for this trip, you know, it's kind of been hard throughout the trip, you know, while she was here dealing with that, and then still trying to kind of like have fun and keep a smile on her face or whatever, but she kind of been going through it. So Kelly got a little bit emotional. But then Kelly asked Brit how did she feel about the night before. So Brit told her how she felt, and she was, you know, said that, you know, she was being treated like she was some cheap bitch when she asked Shamia several times, you know, what's a good amount to donate? Like, what's a good amount to donate? And Shamia basically kept telling her, you to donate with whatever you want, whatever you can, you know, and for them to then make her seem like, you know, she just was being cheap about it. And because I thought the same thing. I ain't even gonna hold you. Y'all know I spoke about it in the review. I thought she was being cheap too. Like, girl, you really, that's all you really bought was tissue and stuff. And I still feel like Brit could have definitely donated more. But for them to make it seem like she didn't ask, you know, because even Kelly said Brit is unaware, you know, of how much to donate. So if you knew that, Kelly, you said that out your mouth. Why are you sitting here with Shamia and, you know, coming at your close friend, you know, and like she said, making her look like she's some cheap person who, you know, just chose to only donate a small amount, you know, like that was not cool on Kelly's part. So anyway, Brit, you know, told her that's how she, you know, told her how she felt about that. And she said she told Kelly, you know, she likes that. She's a really giving person, like that Kelly's a really giving person or whatever. And that she feel Kelly hides behind like her glam, and that it's okay for her to like just be herself and show up as Kelly, and show up as Kelly to her as her friend. You know, it's okay. So Britt also reveals the real reason, which it goes back to the glam squad. Britt says that they're not as close. So Britt says that Kelly took the people away from her glam squad away from her. But Kelly said that Britt went behind her back and held a meeting at her home with Kelly's glam squad, and she didn't like that. She thought that was foul. I think that was a little suspect. I do too. I do think that was a little suspect, because why you know, now granted, you know, these people are grown. This is their livelihood. I'm talking about the glam squad people. This is their money. You know, they are entitled to work with whoever they want to work with, you know. But if they have that relationship with Kelly to where they only work for her within her friend group, then that's what it is. And the fact that Britt went behind Kelly's back, per Kelly, and held a meeting or whatever the case may be, you know, with her glam squad, I guess trying to get them, according to what I was getting from what Kelly was saying, it was like Britt was trying to, you know, make them her glam squad too, you know, when all in all, Kelly only told her, I'ma lend them to you, okay? That's just it, and that's all. They still work for me. You just borrowing them, you know, and I only let you borrow them for however many times you needed them. So for Britt to go behind her back and I guess hold this meeting or whatever, I'm assuming, because they didn't get into what the meeting was about, whatever, but I'm gonna assume it was probably Britt wanting them to, you know, come on board with her too, you know, because I don't think excuse me, y'all, I don't think that they would be the only ones on the show that share a makeup artist. I'm pretty sure, you know, a couple of the other girls on the show, you know, share a glam squad, I mean. So, but Kelly wasn't for it, and that's pretty much, she felt that was shady on Britt's part. So, and Britt just, you know, feels like, as always, Kelly just was hating, and she didn't want them working with her because, you know, so I just was like, to me, I feel like that's very petty. You know, as friends, Kelly could have came to Britt. Britt could have came to Kelly. They could have talked this out. It didn't have to linger. It didn't have to be dragged on down to this trip here. You know, it didn't have to turn into something more to where, you know, Kelly started to act funny toward Britt. I just feel like Kelly, that was just one thing and one reason that Kelly's gonna use as to why she don't F with Britt like that no more. Like, but I definitely think it's more to it. You know, I feel like she just don't want to be Britt's friend anymore because, you know, she want to be friends with Shamia. Now, she want to be Shamia's best friend. You seen them come outside just like the Bopsy twins at the pool, child, because that's what we finna move on to. But Britt did tell Kelly, you know, in the midst of you forming this relationship with Shamia, if you become aware of something that I did and or said, come to me about it first. You know, don't put me on blast and try to teach me a lesson in front of the group. I'm supposed to be your close friend. So there's really no reason why Kelly didn't come to Britt on the back end and pull her to the side and say XYZ, you know. Why would you wait until we at the table with everybody else and Shamia getting on me and now you want to get on me and stuff? Like, why would you do that? Like, I just don't understand why Kelly did that. Other than the fact, like I said, she's a flip-flopping ass, period. So, and I felt Britt when she said that. I felt her like why would you don't that's all I'm asking. Britt was like, that's pretty much all I ask. Like, don't put me on blast like that or call yourself teaching me a lesson in front of the group. If I'm supposed to be a close friend, just come to me with it. We could talk about it. We could have talked about it, whatever the case, and then we could move on. Then there's no issue. There's nothing else that need to be said about it, you know? So I definitely agreed with Britt in that case. So, like I said, we moving on to the poolside, child. So Kelly and Shamia come out with the same outfit on, same bathing suit outfit on, child. And Angela was like, oh, I know Britt gonna be mad when she see that. But Britt didn't even care, child. At least she ain't seem like she cared to me, and I don't blame her or whatever. But the ladies, they're having drinks, they're pre-gaming at the pool because, you know, they're getting ready to go to Jab later on. So they was out there pre-gaming at the pool. They meet the chairman. He comes. I think his name was Randall. He comes. Of course, you know, the single ones in the group, again, acting very thirsty. You know, especially Phaedra One thing about Phaedra, honey, she don't hide shit. She listen, okay? Phaedra is not shy about anything when it comes to these men, okay? But Portia on the phone talk about when he was leaving, talking about she got to record him walking away so she could show her mother. Yeah, I bet you do want to show your mother, child. But anyway, Portia says she leaving with something, honey. But so in that moment at the pool, Kelly, you know, she has to excuse herself because it's time for her to get on the phone with her lawyer. But before she did, you know, her and Drew was having a little moment, finding out that they had more in common than they knew, such as their wedding anniversary dates. It's the exact same. I think it was August 21st. It's the exact same. And Kelly was telling Drew, because Drew had asked her, you know, about her divorce and how it was going to ever. And Kelly, I remember Kelly telling Drew that he's still not, her ex Mark, he's still not showing up. He's on his 6th lawyer. And Drew was like, Ralph is on his 3rd. Just like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, that's just insane to me. Like, I'm so glad, baby, I don't got to deal with that. I'm so glad. But that's what happens when the business is involved, money tied up amongst the two of them. And, you know, it's just a lot. It's a lot when you're getting a divorce and you got a lot of money and businesses involved. So it's just not one of those you could just walk away, you know. And then you have the one party who's just purposely making it very hard for the next party to move on and get this, you know, just to get the process over with and everybody could go on with their lives. You know, these bitter ass men, some of them, or whatever. So, like I said, they kind of talk about that, her and Drew or whatever. So then Portia surprises Shamia with a photo shoot that she was supposed to have. So this is Portia's way of trying to cheer Shamia up, you know, from the news that she got about her daughter the night before. So Portia loans Shamia her bikini and this big crazy hat, which I loved. Fabulous hat. Perfect for the islands or vacation period. But she let Shamia wear the hat. Now this is a photo shoot Portia had, you know, wanted to do for herself. She was the one who's going to be wearing her hat and her bikini and taking photos out there. She didn't have a photographer set up, but Phaedra stepped in to be the photographer, child. But anyway, Portia had said she had a surprise, so she went and took Shamia in the back. I mean, took Shamia in the room, and they came back out, and she's like, this is her way of, you know, cheering Shamia up and, you know, XYZ. So Shamia, of course, ate it all up. You know, that just melted her heart that her best friend thought about her in this way, you know, and she came here to do this for herself and for her to let me to give it to me. You know, that just pulled at my heartstrings. I'm like, Shamia, shut up. Like, she make me so freaking tight, son. Like, she need to shut up. Like, she be pissing me off. But nonetheless, she ate them pictures up. Okay, we didn't see the actual photos when they was all said and done because, again, Phaedra was the one taking them. But from what we did see, Shamia ate that up. That photo shoot, she looked very nice. She was tea. Okay, period. So Kelly leaves, and then she gets on the phone with her attorney. You know, she's telling her attorney how there was a lot that her ex Mark had bought for her when they were together. So supposedly he bought it for her. And that she later on found out, I don't know if it was recently, like during the divorce, or she found out before they were getting divorced or whatever. But she tells the attorney that she found out that Mark sold it to one of his friends or whatever. So the attorney is asking her, you know, like, do you have any documentation? And she's like, no, he only gave her, I forget what she said. I think she said like a card with something in it. And she feels like he put the paperwork up somewhere else or whatever. So, girl, Kelly, you might as well kiss that lie goodbye. I wouldn't listen. If I was Kelly, from what she's been telling us that this man has been doing and putting her through throughout this divorce, I would not want shit. I'm not fighting for shit unless it's my kids and, you know, the money that I made in the relationship. Outside of that, he bought you a lot, girl. Fuck that lot. Okay, he sold it anyway. Fuck that lot. Fuck anything else that he supposedly bought you. Girl, what are you eating? Fuck, I'm sorry, y'all, my dog. But fuck that lot. Fuck anything else that, you know, he supposedly bought you in the marriage that, you know, may have some assets or whatever the case. Let it go. Let it go and leave that. Let that man go. Period. Because I feel like when she start fighting for other shit too, to me that may be irrelevant. Yes, the lot, you know, could have brought her some more income in or whatever the case, but the man unsold it. So as far as she knows, he sold it to somebody else. So why even bring it up? There's no need for you to try to fight for that. I don't know. But if I was Kelly, I would just want all ties cut with that man. Period. All ties cut with that man. And she was just saying how, you know, he has never made anything easy for her. You know, he's only made life hell for her. When it comes to the children, when it comes to her finances, he has never made this easy for her. So again, don't even bring up stuff like the lot or whatever the case, unless, like I said, it has something to do with your children or your money that you actually made in this relationship or whatever the case. But other than that, baby, let that man go. Just let it go. And I know it's easier said than done because I'm not in her shoes, but I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I mean, so far so good, knock on wood, but the way Kelly been talking about him, the person that he is, he seems like he's capable of doing anything, you know, to harm her, to hurt her. He seems like he's capable of doing these things. I mean, she did tell us that he did put hands on her before. And, you know, and he put hands, sit down, babe. You can't be in the camera too. But he did tell us, Vanna, okay, I'm sorry, y'all. But he did, I mean, she did tell us that, you know, he was doing certain things to her in their marriage, you know, and how he been arrested before, you know, he did it right in front of the court, you know, like the court people. So, come on, babe, you gotta get down for now. Anyway, so yeah. Shamia's luggage finally came, y'all, the night or the day before they about to leave, child. Her luggage finally came. So she was happy about that. Then you got Cynthia. They all getting ready for Jab Jab, by the way. They all getting ready now for Jab Jab. So it's the night of. And like I said, Shamia's luggage finally came. Everybody got their, you know, nice little attire on for Jab Jab. Cynthia made some damn hair condoms. She told her man for her ponytail she had her hair, because you know with Jab Jab you got to put all the oil on. So she put something to protect her hair and she called it hair condom. She had like 2 ponytails and she wrapped them up. Okay, and then when she walks out, here's Shamia taking one of Cynthia's ponytails and mimicking her giving head to, like, I don't understand. Nobody ain't gonna convince me that Shamia don't step out on her husband, or have not. Women and men, okay? Nobody is gonna convince me that her and Portia haven't had their times together, including the night before, because we seen Portia dropping her tail in the water and Shamia right behind her snacking on it. They was all lit as hell. Yeah, somebody, yeah, they be out there. I believe they be bumping coochies, her and Shamia. But like I said, I think Shamia definitely steps out on her husband, because why does she act like the most horniest person ever? Like, do you not get none at home when you are with your man? Like, girl, you be acting like you don't get no penis. Like, everything is sexual with Shamia. Everything. Like, what would make you grab Cynthia's fucking ponytail and put the shit to your mouth and start mimicking you giving head? What would make you do that? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, so they're in the car, they're all going, you know, to Jab Jab still there, and they're turning up or whatever. And so when they finally reach their child, they are having a time. I love my Caribbean people, man. I love us down. But anyway, they are having a time out there, and I love that for them. I'm so happy they got to experience Jab Jab or Juve or whatever, all of it, okay? I'm so happy they got to experience that, because they did. They had a time, honey, and I just really loved that for them in that moment. They was having a time, honey. They was having fun. Here goes Cynthia talking about she don't want all them of no sweaty men dripping on her, because she got her man back home in Lake Billy. And I'm like, why is he home in Lake Billy? I know you ain't moved that man in your house, girl. You too old to be still moving men into your house, okay? He should be at his own house. But anyway, child. So they're all packing up, because the next day comes after they all, you know, have a time at Jab Jab. They're back at the suites, resorts, or whatever, and they're all packing up. You see oil on their covers, someone's on the wall, and I'm just like, who got in a effing bed without bathing all that? And I know it takes a lot. Most people, you just dump yourself in the water. You don't go home and try to you know, wash it off like that, because that's a lot of oil. And yes, you'll be scrubbing. Even Britt said she was scrubbing Phaedra ass down, literally nooks and crannies or whatever. And then Phaedra talking about if she got a KKK, I mean, yeah, she's got a KKK in her panties, Britt would know it, because she done seen it all, child. She said Britt said she got in every nook and cranny and crevice and on Phaedra's body, child. And I believe every word. But that was a lot of oil. So yeah, some of them just got their asses in the bed, child. I guess they felt like I'm gonna get off as much as I can, and I'm tired, I'm drunk as hell, and they just laid down on them people white sheets and put some daggone oil on there. But they used to it. So but so Kelly comes out, you know, by this time all the ladies are there. And Kelly comes out, and you know, and she's still a little somber or whatever, you know, but and she tells them how that crystal that she's been holding on to the entire second half of the episode, I mean second half of this trip, you know, that little crystal that they was passing around, so whoever has it is the only one who could talk at the time, no interrupting them. That's what they originally used it for. But apparently Kelly has been holding on to it. I mean, I guess she felt some type of energy from it, and she was just saying how it broke. And that morning it broke in half, and she looked up the reason. She googled, you know, hey, stop. She looked up the reason, you know, as to what does that mean if it breaks, and it says it means that she said Google told her it means that it's the end of a relationship. So she took that as a sign, you know, her going back home, because she was just saying she don't even want to go back home, you know, because she knows what she's going to have to face when she gets back home, you know, still going through getting this divorce done, you know. She still had a lot to go home to and worry about when she get there. So she asked the ladies, you know, in support of her, if they would just, you know, come stand with her while she chucked the broken crystal into the ocean to end the relationship or whatever, or end of an era. So they all did that. And yeah, so pretty much the trip ends, you guys. And Kelly, you know, pretty much also expressed how you know, she felt that when she first put the trip together, that, well, when her and Shamia first put the trip together, you know, that the reason for the trip is that she wanted, you know, new energy for the trip. You know, she wanted that renewed, rebirth, reset, and all of that. And ultimately, that's exactly what the trip did. So I commend the ladies for this trip, because it absolutely ended in the way that it should have. I feel like what Kelly and Shamia set out to do, even though those two was kind of a part of it going backwards, you know, you know, some part of it, you know, they kind of set it back a little bit with their shenanigans, but ultimately it ended the way that it should have. You know, I feel like this trip did exactly what it needed to do for the ladies. But as we see on next episode, child, they're gonna be all back on their bullshit, and I will be watching. Okay, I see that Kelly's ex, her husband, got locked up, child, and she still ain't divorced. And it's just, and then you got Britt telling Portia that she seen some text messages. You know, it's just gonna look, yeah, they gonna be back on their bullshit, y'all. But like I said, as always, I'm gonna be watching, and I'm gonna be right here talking about it with y'all. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Well, this review of this week's episode, or last week's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 15. Y'all, we coming down to the end. I think we got 2 more episodes left. Yeah, I think we got 17 episodes altogether. So, and it's just in time, y'all, because my camera battery about to die. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. So peace out.